Welcome back everybody. Today we're gonna play Harbor on Corrode. Today's day 168 of playing every agent on every map. Today's agent Harbor is in my opinion one of the most underrated agents in the game. A lot of people don't really see the value of a Harbor. He's kind of hard to use and he's also pretty inconsistent, but if you use him the right way, if you play him enough, I think Harbor can be one of the strongest smokes agents in the game. The one downside of Harbor is that he can smoke on both sides and that he's not quite as flexible as most other smokes agent, but I still think that Harbor is probably the best agent to take a site and also to retake a site. So if you play it right, you can win almost any game with a Harbor. You just have to think and give out good comms and make your teammates realize how strong a Harbor can be. Starting off with A site defense. On A site defense, in the beginning of the round, you can use a wall like this to kind of stop the enemies from coming in. The good thing about this wall is that you can even push through or have a teammate pushing through, especially if it is a Yoru or a chamber that can TP back, and then kind of hold this wall right here, even go for this ult orb, and then go back. This is pretty strong because the enemies have to walk through two walls, and it makes it pretty hard for them to kind of fight you. Also pretty strong is this on a Yoru because again you can flash through a wall and it is even stronger than for example on a chamber. Other than that you can also place a wall like this and wall over, and like that you can kind of stop the enemies from coming in, and also you can hide in this close corner right here, make it really hard for the enemies to spot you when you're coming out, and in general makes it pretty hard for the enemies to clear out the site. What you can also use in general just to kind of stop the enemies from coming in is walls like these. Just keep on renewing this cascade and make it really hard for them to come in. As soon as your cascade drops again, you can use another one. It is in general pretty good and makes it so the enemies have a really hard time for coming in. There's only like a 10-second gap after you use your first wall, then a cascade, then your second cascade, and then you can use another wall again, making it pretty hard for the enemies to just in general come in. Another thing that you can also do to kind of cut off the enemies is a wall like this. If you get it a little bit better, it will go through here and kind of stop the enemies from coming in, but a wall like this is also pretty effective because firstly it will block off the elbow area, it will also block off the main area, and will in general make it pretty easy for your team to just hold this area, and even if they come out they will have a hard time going into the elbow area. Other than that, there's not really much you can do. You can kind of use your Harbor bubble right here, but it isn't the greatest idea. I recommend to just save it for the retake, even hold like this close copy between, or if somebody goes for a plant you can even like jump out and kill the person that is going for a plant like this. Other than that, using your Harbor bubble in that way is not the greatest idea. What you can also do pretty well is to use your ult on a retake. This is in general pretty strong, and you can clear out the whole side like this, and then you can use a wall through main like this. Use your Harbor bubble and start defusing and have a teammate holding in front of the wall and making it pretty hard for the enemies to even come in. Even inside of the bubble is also still a pretty good idea to hold. Or you can use a cascade over to the elbow area to kind of get into the elbow area with a cascade like this, stopping them from coming in. Same thing also with the main area to even take a little bit more space. And then stopping it over here, making it pretty hard for the enemies to do something against it. Switching over to a mid now, and on mid you can play aggressive with a cascade like this. Sending it down mid, walking down with the cascade, especially good if you have a duelist doing that. Can walk all the way down, even hold this close thing between right here, or even push through with a flash. Can be pretty good, but other than that there's not really much you can do. You can kind of wall off this area right here, like this, even hide in this close corner, or push through this wall right here and get a off angle on the enemies. But in general, in mid, I don't really recommend that you play there, or use your util there, unless they have like a full 5-man rush on mid. If they are coming towards B, you can use a wall like this one to get more aggressive space. Either like this, stopping it right here, even leaving you a small gap to kill the people that are in front of the wall, or letting it go a little bit further and kind of cutting off the wall right here. It can also be pretty good for your teammates that are pushing through main if you have a wall that has a little copy here where you can hide behind and kind of dodge some enemy util. For example, if they are using a dog or a drone, they will not be able to see you. Other than that, you can also stop the enemies from coming in with a wall like this one, and then just sending it over towards mid, kind of also blocking off the mid area. This wall is pretty good. It will allow you to play a little bit aggressive, even allow you to push through and go for this ult orb if you have a flash, or just in general wait for the enemies to go for that ult orb and then just spam through the wall and do a lot of damage to them. It can be pretty effective and can be used in a pretty good way. Also, as soon as the enemies are in main trying to come in, you can use a wall like this and even a wall like this to cut off the main area, and even give you a small copy to play in, waiting for the enemies to either come into this copy as well, and then peeking out, or just going out of the wall at a timing, so you think the enemies are coming in, you have a teammate flashing, or throwing a reveal, and you can just stay behind here and get some free kills. Other than that, again, just playing retake is a pretty good idea. You can use your walls then towards main, also use your harbor cove on the side to go for a defuse, clearing it out with a shorty, and then going for a pretty safe defuse. It is a pretty strong idea to just use your harbor bubble for the defuse, and then have your teammates fight around the bubble, making it pretty hard for the enemies to get some damage off of you. Also pretty cool is a thing you can do from elbow, if you're retaking the space with your team, kind of sending in a cascade like this. If you know they came through mid, they are most likely have people that are playing here in the link area, so you can kind of block them off like this. Or even if you are coming from the elbow area all the way back here, using a cascade towards main is also a pretty good idea. And then clearing out the close corners, going towards the side, and going for defuse. Now switching over towards attack, and on attack you can use a wall like this to kind of block off the elbow area and also block off the CT area. If you get a wall like this, the elbow area will be blocked off and you can take the side pretty easily. You will also have the CT area blocked off, and if you place the wall a little bit better, you can even block it off from right here all the way over here, and then you'll have a perfect wall for CT as well. It makes it pretty easy for you to take the side, and even if this wall in CT drops, you can still use a cascade over towards the side like this and stop it like right there, and then go for a safe plant right here in your bubble, or even up out here to make it even better for your team. In general, taking the side with this wall is a pretty good idea. You can then even decide, once you have taken the elbow or the main space, to wall off the area right here close as well, and then take the elbow area, or do the opposite right here with a wall like this to stop the people from picking you from the elbow area. Like this, it is pretty easy for you to take the side, and it makes it pretty easy for you to, in general, get this A side. Other than that, you can also use, obviously, a ult like this. The enemies have a tendency to peek early in the beginning of the round. You can use a wall like this to isolate the enemy that is playing in main with from the rest of their team, and also make it pretty hard for them to escape. Even better if you combine that with a flash or even a reveal. If you have a reveal landing on top and a flash coming into main, the enemy will be full flashed, slowed by your wall, revealed through your wall if they are trying to run away, and then you can get a easy kill on them. Other than that, another wall that can be used sometimes is a wall like this, kind of walling off the elbow area, kind of walling off the main area, and getting yourself and your team a easy way towards the elbow area, and making it pretty good for example, eco runs where you have stingers, maybe shotguns, or even a Spectre, and get the space like that. You have to kind of worry about the main space though right here. Other than that, there's a couple of options to just kind of wall up the main area, or re-wall CT as soon as your wall is dropped, even fighting it and get more space like that and have a better post plan. I would always recommend on a harbor that you farm the ult orbs and that you also farm the plants. Like that you can have your ult in in a lot of rounds and make it pretty easy for your team to farm up your ult and have a easy side take almost like every third round, because your ult can be farmed pretty easily if you get the plant, if you get the ult orb. You will also already have 2 ult orbs, and then you get a kill maybe or die twice. You will also have another 2 more ult orbs, and then it is pretty easy for you to farm up your ult. Now switching over towards mid. On mid you can wall off the top mid area with a wall like this, and then decide to either go towards A. If you're going towards A, using a wall from this copy right here through the CT area can be pretty good. Or if you decide to go over towards the B side, you can use a wall like this and kind of block off the top mid area. If you want to do it even better, you can or if you want to do it in a different way, you can even use a cascade right here and then use your wall from up here, walling off the heaven area and also the CT area, making it pretty easy for you to take this space. The wall here in heaven can be tricky sometimes, but most of the times if you do it from right here, just aim at this little ledge right here peeking out, it can be a pretty good one. Other than that, there's not really much you can do for from B. You can kind of take the mid space pretty easily with just 1 or 2 cascades and get all of the space that you need there. Now switching over towards B, and on B you can do a similar thing towards like you do towards A. If the enemies decide to play aggressive, throw a wall here in main and make it pretty hard for the enemies to take this space. Also, this allows you to cross over here and use a wall like this through heaven. This wall is not the greatest one. You can combine that with a cascade towards the elbow area and or towards the mid area, and then block off all of the areas where the enemies can see you. But in general, I just recommend that you use your wall like this. and have a perfect wall for heaven and for the link area with just one wall, and have an easy time taking the site like that as well. If you don't feel safe from backside, you can also use a cascade towards the backside area, and if you get spammed by, for example, an Odin or something else, or the enemies tend to go for a reveal as you're going in, you can even use your bubble right here to go into the site, get a free plant, and then get out again. In general, I recommend to go for a plant right here in the link area, but then I recommend that you have a teammate either pushing through or holding your space right here with a shorty or a phantom or a vandal to kind of stop the enemies from coming in. Then you can go for a plant, and you can easily pay post plant. Again, farming ult orbs is pretty strong. You can also use your harbor ult on the B side pretty easily, and in general make it pretty easy for you to take all of the space here. To re-smoke with your wall, you can either go towards main and use your wall like this, just wall of the same areas again, and even give yourself a small copy to hide in, or make a lot of chaos with your walls. For example, you wall something like this, making it pretty hard for the enemies to retake, hiding in this copy, hiding, or even deciding to kind of push here, even if you have a teammate that's pushed up a little further, hiding behind this wall. There's a lot of options you can do with a harbor, with like weird copies, also making it pretty hard for the enemies to see you. Even copies here can be used pretty effectively. Then hiding in here, and use that for your post plant. In general, I think harbor can be used pretty well if you are going for straight side hits. What you can do on a harbor that kind of sucks is to wall off the heaven area. You can see there's a pretty big gap right here. Sometimes you can see over it and you can get kills like that, and it makes it pretty hard for you to do that effectively. What you can do is to throw your cascade up there, or your cove up there with a pretty simple lineup like this, but I don't think it's worth it. Most of the times you will just kind of use a cove up here, and then enemies can just spray it, break it, and then your smoke disappears from heaven, and you will not really have a way to re-smoke that area. In general, I think Harbor is a pretty good pick on this map, and you can use him pretty well on side XX. If I had to give Harbor a rating from S to F, I'd actually give him the A tier. In my opinion, Harbor is really underrated. He can be used pretty well. He's also pretty versatile. He can smoke off a lot of the areas, and he's in general a pretty good agent. The only thing where Harbor struggles a little bit is defense. I think on attack he can be better than most of the normal smokes, and he's also pretty versatile in what you want to do. He's pretty good on eco rounds as well, and you can in general create a lot of chaos with a Harbor, and if you have a consistent team that can work with that chaos, it can be pretty good for your team. Just be aware your Harbor wall also slows your teammates, so kind of call what you're going to wall off, what your plan is, and if you give out good calls, I think Harbor can even be an S tier agent. That would be it from me. If you want to see any other agent on any other map, write down in the comments, and if you want to see anything else Valorant related, write it down there as well. And as always, don't forget to like and sub, and come say hi to me on Twitch where I stream almost daily. Have a great rest of your day, and see you guys very soon. Bye!